What the Ancient Astronaut Theory is about, to me anyway, is the idea that people from other planets thousands of years ago visited our planet and met with the locals. Now, these are the kind of locals that we would call Neanderthals or cavemen. Tribal sort of people that may have been quite primitive. People or beings thousands of years ago came to our planet, and they did meet with what we would now call today as cavemen or savages. These people, or these star people who are from other planets, sometimes maybe even other solar systems, have visited us long ago, and it's what we sort of conclude when we see the megaliths and other structures made today that we really can't explain. I could go into a lot of government stuff about how they're trying to cover up the idea of aliens, because quite frankly the governments are working with aliens, but I'm not going to do that in this video because that could maybe be left for a later time. And it's something that I believe personally. But when you look at the world and the amazing things that exist within it that man today can't create, it does give you a reason to wonder how these things were achieved. And when we look at the mythologies of how these places were created, the people say that they were created by people who came from other planets. Why should we always have to say that that is false? Maybe it's true. But certainly it looks that way whenever you think of some of these buildings weighing thousands of tons. Our technology can't lift that type of weight these days. There's certainly something strange about it.
There were so many unknowns in the early days. And this is a fact of the matter. We were really not sure after John flew whether or not there were critters, living critters out there somewhere.
I hit Vader, finally.
According to some analysts, these lights captured on film were flares.
Well, that is a totally different configuration than we've ever seen.
Yep.
But this does not account for the large boomerang-shaped object seen by the governor and hundreds, possibly thousands of others across the state beginning several hours earlier.
I mean, it clearly had a shape to it, and a big shape, and it was a constant shape. And you can't control flares that way.
The young man, if he described the process to me, he did. About 30 minutes into the process, he said to me, in a very distressed way, by the way, we've discovered a base on the backside of the moon. And then he proceeded to put photographs down in front of me, and clearly in these photographs were structures, mushroom-shaped buildings, spherical buildings, and towers. And at that point I was very concerned because I knew we were working in compartmentalized security. He had breached security, and I was actually frightened at that moment, and I did not question him any further. And a few moments later someone did come into the room. I worked there for 3 more days, and I remember going home and naively thinking, I can't wait to hear about this on the evening news. And here it is, more than 30 years later, and I hope we hear about it tonight. And I will testify under oath before Congress that what I'm saying is the truth.
I think those especially familiar with Ancient Astronaut Theory will quite like the cards. I think they'll understand what some of the imagery is about, more so than someone who doesn't really have much of an interest in that. As far as the Oracle deck goes, I'm going to design it in such a way that it can be used to give people insight into their lives, be it good or be it bad. And this will be based on various illustrations depicting scenes which I believe sort of represent what happened long ago. It is themed in that sense. But I think I'm going to include a lot of theories as to why people believe that, including myself. But, you know, I believe that there is just something a lot bigger than us, and that's what I want to portray in this. This oracle that I am creating. I'm not very good at all this promotional fancy stuff. I just, you know, going to create this thing and hopefully people can appreciate it. When you give it the name Alien, people just sort of laugh, but really it's not so hard to believe that people did come from another place to visit here. Considering that we can go to the moon, or we can send space probes up into Mars, or you know, other places, it doesn't necessarily seem too hard to believe. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I believe that when we look at things around the world, there is certainly something strange going on. Not even UFO sightings or things like that. Whenever you look at the ancient buildings weighing thousands of tons, how can normal human beings do that? I mean, it does not register with people's minds that ropes and pulleys and strength alone cannot really explain how these blocks weighing thousands of tons could have done something like that. I mean, I think we're all here, at least I like to believe we're all here for a reason. Now, there might not necessarily be a reason, or we may never really understand it, but it's a big world, and I think well, at the very least it's nice to believe that we're not just stuck here on this planet. Thanks for watching this, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch it.
stars come in, and from skies to clouds, 'cause I